when we're studying neuromuscular reprogramming and the use of muscle testing as an assessment tool and a correction tool, it's important to be able to work effectively with people who are running it constantly in a state of what we call overenergy, because it describes kind of how it manifests in the body. So when your body has a weakness, if you are a strongly competitive character, you will overcome that weakness by the boot of adrenal energy. So you'll have that sort of teeth gritting determination that creates this, you can't fail a test. So these are the folks who get on your table who are athletic competitors, winners, or people who are living in a condition where they have to overcome a weakness with determination and with adrenaline. So there's a way to test for this and to release it. So we're going to see if this might be going on with Mike. And if it isn't, we're going to create a faked up situation about it, so you can see how you would go about testing for it. So I'm going to use Mike's right arm as an indicator. Does this straighten in your elbow? Okay. And can you hold your arm for me and match my pressure? So this is very easy. Yeah. So if I want to know if his body is in balance and reacting normally, I would take my hand and use it as a magnet and sweep up the central meridian, which starts on the pubic bone, goes all the way up to the crease at the bottom of your chin. So if I swept my hand up like this and I asked him to match my pressure, I would expect to be seeing a strong test, but instead I got an inhibited test. So just to confirm this, see if you can lock your elbow straight so we're not engaging the biceps. So then I'm going to magnetize the central meridian in the direction in which it should ebb, right? So every meridian has a flow and an ebb. So we're going to magnetize in the ebb direction and match my pressure. And Mike shows strong when I take down or diminish the energy in his central meridian. Should be the other way around. So strong should be the flow of the meridian. Match my pressure. Okay. Now let's just see how long that lasts, that effect. Match my pressure. Back on. So I generally notice that 3 tests and the body will recalibrate itself. So no concern over leaving your client in a weakened state, and that will be particularly important working with your athletes. So if somebody is, in fact, over energy, which Mike is demonstrating for us here today, you engage their ability to cross the midline between the 2 halves of the body, the 2 halves of the brain. They can do that by crossing their arms, tucking their arms into their armpits so they don't have to actually make effort to hold themselves there. They can also at the same time cross their legs. And I just let people go with whatever crossover pattern naturally occurs to them. And this crossover pattern was taught to me in Touch for Health as a way to rebalance the meridians that are running too much energy with the ones that perhaps need energy. Now, I don't know if I believe that or not, but the results are in the observation of causing the meridian energies to behave normally, such that the ebb creates a weakening or an inhibition, and the flow direction of a meridian creates an enhanced function. So we might leave Mike cooking here for, I don't know, might take a couple of minutes. If we were doing this, maybe we would throw together some brain buttons in there just to give him something to do. Or we might engage with the use of positive points on the frontal eminences, which we'll show you in another demo, and tell you the reasons why that can be a useful tool in the context of your bodywork practice, no matter what your technique. So see if you can take a breath in your belly. So we'll probably want to cut out a bunch of this. So we shorten the whole thing down. Okay, so let's see if this has done enough. Uncross your arms, uncross your legs. Let me borrow your right arm and lock your elbow. So we're just testing the shoulder muscles. I'm going to run my hand up the central meridian, match my pressure. Good. I'm going to run my hand down the central meridian, match my pressure. So now we see the body acting in what is a more logical method, where the directions of the meridian seem to be responding appropriately. So this can enable you to muscle test someone who's on your table that has proven difficult. Sometimes, there's a lot of situations where somebody is overriding the felt sense of weakness or inhibition with an extra effort, and one never needs to get into the content or discuss the story behind it or even explain necessarily what you're doing. But it can be an observation that just says, I notice I'm having a hard time getting a read on, let's say yes out loud, match my pressure. Okay, say no out loud, match my pressure. And you should be able to feel the difference between a statement that rings with positivity and affirmation and a statement that is usually associated with stress, like the word no. So these are the kinds of things that will give you a quick look at whether there is a problem with finding a difference. Like if somebody felt strong for both, you would begin to take a look at the central meridian and question whether or not this OverEnergy stance in the body, this override with adrenaline, was an underlying and undermining status quo that would make it hard to use muscle testing as a way to determine any kind of assessment, any kind of an honest evaluation of whether there is a dysfunction that can be addressed with neuromuscular reprogramming.